You're listening to the Packernet Podcast Network.
You ever hear of test driving a phone network? Well, US Cellular is letting you test drive their nationwide 5G for free. Try out US Cellular wherever you have spotty service, your commute to work, that one spot in your house where your service dips. It's as easy as doing a little beep boop pop boop pop with your phone. That's the buttons, that's the noise they make. Anyways, test drive US Cellular's nationwide 5G coverage for free for 30 days. Just download the Try Us app. US Cellular, built for us. Terms apply. Visit uscellular.com/try us.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, whenever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members only pay a $25 copay or less. No insurance, no problem. Now get $80 off your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show of the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. I didn't even bother to look because we haven't had one in forever, and we still don't. But if you want to call in, if you've never done it before, new callers do go directly to the front of the line. Let me change up the settings here and get started with, I believe, Steve in Alaska.
Hey, Ryan. Steve up in Alaska. Give me a holler. It's kind of late here. We just got past solstice, post-solstice. I know it doesn't mean a lot to you, but to me,
the sun thing.
It's over the hump. We're gonna start getting dark.
Yeah.
Right now it's 12:51, and it's like dusk, and it's gonna get brighter from here. So solstice means it's gonna get darker, and I'm pretty stoked about that. But that has nothing to do with what I called. What I called for is I've been listening to sports talk like all of us do, and I was wondering if you would be willing to go through and do something slightly different than what I hear. What I hear is everybody breaking down teams and their offenses and defenses, sometimes by positions and all that stuff, but they do it by division. So the NFC North, the AFC South, all that kind of stuff. What I would like to hear, if you would be willing to take time to do it, is a breakdown of the teams by conference and where each team fits in by conference.
Sure.
Now, if you want to do by position, which would be a lot of work, I get that. But if you want to do it just by offense and defense, by, use whatever multiple things you want to use. I mean, you got a plethora, I like to use that word, plethora of things to go and look at and compile a variety of stats to create who are the best or worst in each conference, and then rank them by conference. I know it's kind of been done. I'm sure somebody's done it, but I haven't heard anybody do it for a while. At least not, since we got through OTAs and after the draft. At least I don't think I have. But either way, man, that was a thought of mine. I'd ramble on about a bunch of other stuff. I've been rambling at myself about a bunch of stuff that I'd like to put on your show, but that would take like 20 minutes of time for me to go through my whole entire ramble. It was pretty deep. It has a lot to do with a podcast that I recently started listening to, that the people on it seem to be really ignorant of a lot of things and continue to talk about things on the podcast. So, by the way, if anybody else knows of any out there podcasts that are hard to listen to but are really funny to listen to because it makes you laugh and you just like give them a hard time for what they say, I like to hear those. I enjoy those. So go back. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Sounds like an interesting genre. What I thought you were going to say is instead of doing, NFC North or whatever, look at playoff teams. So maybe somewhat of a middle ground would be conference as in NFC and then playoff teams. Because, do we really need to look at the Giants or Washington or, I don't know, Carolina? Probably not. But we could look at Dallas, Philly, Detroit, Green Bay, maybe throw Chicago in there because they do have some potentially good pieces if they have a quarterback. That's the big question. The 49ers, Rams, and somebody in the NFC South's got to do something here. It's the Tampa Bay or New Orleans or whatever. But at least the top teams, and maybe look at some of the Bucks, Saints, Falcons, Cardinals, Seahawks type teams, and just see if there's any like, oh man, I didn't really thought about that. Because occasionally you talk trash about a team and you're like, oh, I forgot that dude got over there and they got this guy back and et cetera, et cetera. Like the Cardinals, I always talk trash about them, but it's like, it's mostly because their quarterback hasn't really played in like 2 years. So, if he can get back and actually be a good quarterback and actually stay healthy, which is probably unlikely, and they can get humming with these wide receivers and whatnot, maybe. But that's an idea. It's an idea.
Hey, Ryan, just calling back because there's a side note that just popped in my head because, I'm out looking at stuff, but it's, I believe it's in the constellation of Corona Borealis. It's just east of Hercules. I know this is crazy stuff to be throwing out at everybody, but I saw a report and I looked at it and I heard other people talk about it that between now and September, there's possibility of a nova exploding that we should all be able to see. And so, cause I'm kind of into this kind of stuff. I like celestial stuff and star stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just wanted to put that out there for anybody that have an interest in such a thing that maybe sometime this year we will get to see a star explode and see it in our sky. So there you go. Something else for everybody to talk about. Talk to y'all later. Bye.
That would be interesting. I haven't super gotten into space. I feel like as I get older, I'm starting to develop interests in a lot of things. I'm really starting to get into history and I don't know if I would say geography, but I think just because of all the things that are going on in the world and with the robots, it's a lot easier to get information. So, it's like even with the elections going on all around the world, like people are talking about it, I'm like, I don't understand. Like that doesn't make any sense. You look into it and it's like, oh, that's crazy. Or one of the biggest things, especially across the pond, is how these countries came to be. I think I've talked about it before, but it's like, you got Russia. Maybe it's just an American thing, but for me, there's like these blocks. There's like the Europe, which is like England and France and stuff. Then you got Poland and those guys too. You got Russia, which feels like Europe, but kind of like Poland and like the Eastern Europe kind of thing, but it's weird because it stretches all the way basically to America, but whatever. Then you got China or Asia or over there. And then you got like the Middle East region, which is kind of like India too, even though supposedly that's Asia, but it's really closer in my mind, but it doesn't really matter. But then there's like that strip right in the middle. You know what I mean? Like all the like, what is that? Where did that come from? But all that kind of stuff. And even, like England, who got there? Like who are they? It's like, well, it's a little bit of everything. You got the Nordics and the Germanics and a little bit of the Romans and a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So I don't know. A lot of stuff has been interesting to me. I know my son and I went walking at one of these parks out here, which is a historic site. It's a massive, like Native American former city. Like thousands of people lived there at one point. There's these mounds and hills and everything all over, which is pretty dope. But it just, I don't know, it just sparks interest in Like, what the heck is going on here? Like, how did this? And, my son starts asking questions. I'm like, that's a good question, dude. I don't freaking know. It's crazy. Like, where'd they go? I don't know. I don't know where they went. So, yeah, lots of different interests. Obviously, cooking and food and stuff has become an interest. Just learning stuff is kind of interesting. Not super deep, though. Like, I could never go back to school because it's like, hey, do you want to learn this so well that we spend, like, years learning it? It's like, heck no. I'll give you 15 minutes, and then I'm moving on to something else. Dude, this is ADD education over here. That's all we're doing. But I bet there's probably some cool stuff. Because it's one of those things, too, where it's like, all I have are fragments of knowledge. It's like, and you learn this when you have kids, too, because your kids will ask you stuff that's super simple. And you're like, that's the, how does that, it's, I don't actually know. Like, I know it, but I can't articulate it, but also I kind of don't know, and I feel like I should know. And that's freaking crazy that I don't actually know. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe I'll poke around in space, see what's going on out there. Because I've always had questions, and I just never really understood or whatever, but kind of poke around, see how it goes. Could be interesting. I don't know. But, yeah, man, I'll let you know if I see anything. I won't see anything, but I'll let you know. Space is cool, especially with Elon. Like, I remember laughing at the dude, like, you're not going to Mars, you idiot. And, like, sitting here today is like, dude, we're going to be on Mars soon. Like, that freaking guy's crazy. He's launching thousands of ships a year, and he just started launching, like, these massively heavy ones that can now land. And apparently the significance of that is you need the heavy ones to be able to do these longer missions, to be able to get longer distances and carry payloads and be able to, like, drop it off and get back. So it's massively significant. And it took, like, no time at all. I feel like the first one freaking took off, in my mind, it was like 5 years ago, and then they just started landing like a year or two ago, and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, now we got these massive ones to do giant missions. It's like, holy crap, dude. We might actually see, I thought it was a pipe dream that anybody would ever, like, living on the moon, living on Mars is fake. That's never ever going to happen. I'm like 25, 75 that it's going to happen in my lifetime, 25 that it will. Stuff is happening fast, man. Thanks to people like Elon, because that's why you got to have people like that. You used to have that back in the day. Here I go with my freaking thing. You used to have people that invented stuff, Henry Fords of the world, and people that, like, crashed 1 billion airplanes because they just wanted to learn how to fly because, you know what? I bet we can do it. And I'm going to do it. And I might die trying, but I'm going to do it. I feel like we've just been kind of sitting around playing on the internet for, like, 30 years. Like, I don't know, dude. This is fine. We got YouTube. We got Netflix. Like, what else do you need? And then here comes freaking Elon. He's like, I'll tell you what we're going to do. Electric cars. We're going to power the whole world with solar. We're going to dig tunnels underground to drive through. Self-driving cars. We're going to freaking run NASA right out of Dodge. Like, goodbye, you suck at this. Oh, by the way, we're going to colonize Mars. Oh, and we're going to build robots that everyone's going to have in their home. We're going to automate the entire world. Oh, and by the way, he was a co-founder of OpenAI, which is the robots. So we're going to... Freaking, the guy's a psychopath. So happy. We need 50 Elon Musks in the world. How much better our lives would be? God, where has this guy been my whole life? Just sitting around doing nothing. We're like the rich kids who had, like, the great-grandparents who were like the Rockefellers, and they built this amazing thing, and we're just sitting here spending all the money, and we're running low on money. It's like, I don't know how to build anything. We're all freaking idiots. And then cousin Elon over there is like, oh, never mind. I'll become a billionaire and make us all rich. Oh, thanks, Elon. Thanks for keeping the freaking machine humming here. Because I don't know what to do. I just do podcasts. I talk about the Packers. And I watch football and eat, consume. So, anyways, thanks, bro. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I'll keep this quick.
Okay.
I want to congratulate Jordan Love and Renika Stone on their engagement. But I also want to congratulate Chicago Bears. We know how important a two-parent household is, and they finally got one. All right, bye.
Oh, that's so good. That's too good. That's one of the... Every once in a while I get a call where it's like, would it be inappropriate of me to just rip that off and throw it on social media? Because that is freaking hilarious. Oh, that's good stuff. I don't think I've heard from Coda in a while. In fact, I don't recognize the name Coda Trump Montana. Whatever that means. Probably one of those random names that I came up with because I couldn't understand what he was saying. But appreciate you calling, man. Missed you. Love you. Thanks for checking in. Kyle from Madison, what's up?
What's up, Ryan? It's Kyle from Madison.
What's up?
I just listened to your Rashawn Gary. Rich, I'll say this. Rich Eisen, as much as he doesn't ever seem to challenge anyone, he does give a good interview.
Yeah.
He really does. I like that interview. I saw the whole thing when it was on. I think I did. It's the recent one. But I do have to disagree with you. I don't usually disagree with you. It's not a huge point of contention. But you had mentioned when Rashawn was talking about him and Jordan and their, who you bringing along, who we getting better with, and that it's cheesy, and, Bakhtiari and Rodgers would have laughed at him. And you said, that's a product of a young team. And I disagree. I don't think cynicism is a product of getting older in sports. I truly believe that as much as I love the guy, one of Rodgers' faults was being too cool for school at times. And we saw this manifest in many ways. And Bakhtiari pulled the same crap. And we kind of saw I thought, even last year leading into the season when we still thought he was going to play, he still thought he was going to play, there was kind of this gritting of sandpaper between like tectonic plates and the old attitude and the new attitude. And you could kind of feel it, or at least I felt that way. And you know how Bakhtiari was given those like little cutesy answers in the interviews, and it just rubbed me completely the wrong way. And that's when I still thought he was going to be playing. I don't know if you remember that, but it was about this time last year, or maybe it was training camp, but his answers left a lot to be desired in the Yera, let's go team department.
Yeah.
Whereas the younger kids, no way. They were 100% bought in. Now, if you believe it's all happy horse bleep, that's fine. But I've been fortunate enough in my life. As a kid, I was a state championship swimmer. I'd spend 10 hours a week in the pool. I was a multi-sport athlete to varying degrees in high school. And then in my 30s and 40s, I took up kickboxing and jiu-jitsu. I've been around a lot of really, really high-level martial artists and athletes. And these people 100% use slogans and mantras and what would be quote-unquote cheesy lines to power themselves, right? Because in the moment, you need that extra drive. And I don't think it's just a youth, we're naive, we believe everything the coaches say. No, I think this is helpful. I think these mantras are helpful. And in the heat of the moment, they can help to ground you and motivate you. Iron sharpens iron, right? Like all these things, there's a reason you repeat these things. And so it's just, to me, it's another reason why you get the old crap out, you move on, you get better as a result in your mind and your body.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would say to kind of like clarify, it sounds like, I mean, you even said at the end that, we've got to get the old people out or whatever. What you're saying is not necessarily a function of it, which is my entire point. In other words, I didn't mean to say that no matter what, as you get older, you're never going to buy in and you're going to become like this jaded kind of D-bag about everything. And, you kind of roll your eyes at the speeches and all that kind of stuff. I do think it gets a lot harder to do it. I think it's just a natural human thing. I didn't mean to necessarily make that an excuse, although it kind of, I think it gets to be hard. I think what you're describing are people that, number one, understand the importance of it. And you're right? I mean, there's a reason that I want it because it is important. And I think that there's a lot. I mean, Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady's a rah-rah guy to the day he dies. I mean, I think he's one of those guys, and that was why they're such a successful team. He not only held himself to that account, he held the team to that. He's going to come in and be a cheesy guy. I mean, that's kind of like Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's just not good at his delivery. He's way over the top with the cheesy. But he's right. He's right. He just doesn't know how to, do it in a way that doesn't isolate himself. But I think that's a discipline. I do think it's important. I guess what I'm saying is I do understand how it gets to be difficult to not take on that too cool for school. I've heard it before, like shut up and just do your job kind of thing. But I also do think that that's a detriment. And I do think it was a responsibility of the older guys to, see that as a weakness in themselves, see the strength in the rah-rah, so to speak, and to promote it. I don't think it was a good environment. I don't think that Rodgers promoted a good environment. I think he was a good player. I think he demanded excellence, but I don't think the way in which he went about it is the right way. I think there is a cheesiness to this. You know, all the mantras and stuff. And I will sit here and roll my eyes into the back of my head just thinking about it. But at the same time, you know, it's really not much different than, you know, I'm sitting here and I got to go work out or I need to get motivated to do something. And you know, it's so freaking, I will admit, it's the lamest crap ever. It's so cheesy, but I'll go on YouTube and I'll look up some motivational stuff. Sometimes it's like a motivational speaker. Sometimes it's just one of those guys that's like, stop being a piece of garbage. Sometimes it's about just like responsibility. Like, this is what a man does. You know, like, you've got kids, you're a grown man, like, you need to handle your business. And it's just kind of like, all right, you're right. Yeah, I gotta do it. I don't know why. I wish I didn't need that. It's stupid and lame and cheesy, but it does something, and it is important. And there does need to be a unified message. It's important. These things matter. And I think really good teams have that. I would be stunned to find out that there were championship teams that didn't have that little bit of nonsense. There might have been some like maybe Manning over in Denver. I don't know. But I mean, I think back to like Baltimore when they won. Ray Lewis and those guys, dude, I mean, it might have been like the coolest rah-rah in the world. Like, it was hardcore, like defensive led type of rah-rah, you could call it. But it was all cheesy, like, you know, I mean, he rallied the guys because he's retiring and it's about do it for me. I mean, you think about that Brett Favre game when his dad died. That's like an element of rah-rah in a way. You know, it's this sort of emotional thing that pulled out the best of everybody. Because at the end of the day, as cheesy as it might be, that's kind of how this stuff works. And when you start seeing quarterbacks not participating, not showing up, not really taking it seriously, and some of the young guys follow that lead and they kind of go, yeah, whatever, shrug their shoulders. You know, I mean, that's why I look at the Jets in general right now. And it's not just Rodgers. I mean, you got all the leaks coming out. You got all the stuff being said. This guy said this and he said, she said. That's not a unit. That's not a good culture. That is toxic. So, yeah, I think it's important. You know, this is why when there was a big hubbub about, oh, who cares? It's not a big deal if so-and-so isn't working out. Who cares if so-and-so doesn't show up? Who cares if this, that, or the other thing doesn't happen? It's not about the little thing. It's not about whether Jim Bob is actually going to grow from this experience. It's not even necessarily about how much it's going to impact the culture in the locker room. It's more a reflection of where the locker room actually is. It's not that I think you just broke a thing. It's that you're showing me that it's broke. Because if this locker room functioned in the way that it was supposed to, if the leadership in the locker room was handled in a way that it was supposed to, this would never have been in question. You want to know what a healthy locker room looks like? It's what happened with the Green Bay Packers this offseason, where basically everybody was there. Did everybody being there mean we're going to win? Did that fix things? Did that demonstrate something or build something? No, it reflected something. And you're right. I although I somewhat understand it, it shouldn't be such a cop-out to just say, well, they're old, you can't expect them to actually handle things the right way. Well, you know what? There's a way of doing things that can lead to winning, and that's what we should expect, and that's what we should hold people to. And I think we need to do a good job at a young age of instilling in people that this is what we expect all the time. And if you're going to turn 30 and start getting crotchety like Devondre Campbell or Za'Darius or whatever, you will not be here. Anyways, let's take our first break. We'll be back with Garrett from Sarnoy. You know, my son started collecting football cards. I had no idea what the heck I was doing, so I went out and bought him one of those binders you put all the cards in and all that kind of stuff. Turns out, card collecting has come a long way since when I was a kid, and that's what people did. Now, there is a new way to buy, sell, and trade cards. It's called Arena Club. Whether you're buying, selling, trading, or displaying, Arena Club is the all-in-one trading card platform that you have to sign up for. Over at arenaclub.com/packdaddy. We actually did a whole YouTube video about this. I would encourage you to check it out. It is a fantastic website. You can, as I said, you can buy, trade, sell, but also you can display all of your cards right there on the platform. It gives you all of the grading. They'll even grade your cards. Their grading combines AI as well as human grading to get the most accurate grading of all your cards. And right now, you can get 10% off your first purchase by going to arenaclub.com/packdaddy. That's arenaclub.com/packdaddy for 10% off your first purchase. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. You ever hear of test driving a phone network? Well, US Cellular is letting you test drive their nationwide 5G for free. Try out US Cellular wherever you have spotty service, your commute to work, that one spot in your house where your service dips. It's as easy as doing a little beep boop pop boop pop with your phone. That's the buttons, that's the noise they make. Anyways, test drive US Cellular's nationwide 5G coverage for free for 30 days. Just download the Try Us app. US Cellular, built for us. Terms apply. Visit uscellular.com/try us.
You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com.
Hey, Ryan, it's Garrett from Southern Illinois.
What's up?
In honor of the inaugural Ed Policy holiday,
Yeah.
I thought it would be kind of a great idea to start throwing out there laws, or should we say, quote-unquote, policies that Ed will write into place into Green Bay Packer law, Constitution, however you want to put it, in his first day in office. So I've got 2 or 3 ideas of maybe things that he should write into law. Number 1 would be, as of this day, it shall be known that if you stand up and do the wave or yell while Green Bay is on offense, you shall be banned henceforth from Lambeau Field for the rest of your life.
I like it.
I think that's a good one to start on. Number 2, any reporter asking a dumb question shall be put into... Hold on a minute. What the heck happened? Okay. I'm back. Number 2, any reporter asking dumb questions should be put in the dungeon for at least a month and not allowed to ask another question of players or coaches until they figure out what an intelligent question is. Or you shall be banned from the locker room.
Fair enough.
Number 3, there shall be free bratwurst for anybody that comes to a game wearing a football jersey. I think that one should be just a given since we've been talking about bratwurst so much.
Yeah.
So just feel free to expand on that, Ryan. I just thought I'd throw out some convenient truths out there that Ed Policy should be putting into place. I'm sure there's some great ones that people can think of, but I thought we should at least start with those. So feel free to expand on that idea. I'm out.
Well, I've got no objections, I can tell you that. Trying to think what I would add to that. Can't really think of anything. I would love to get the draft on the other side, but that's my one big talking point, but it's never going to work. No, I think that's great. We might need to be a little bit more lenient on the media. I mean, I would ask a lot of stupid questions. I think, we got to raise the bar like 10 questions, 15, 20. I don't know. But there is a line, or maybe it's kind of like baseball where the strikes have to be concurrent. You know, it's not like you struck out in the last game and then this one, so you're whatever. It's got to be in a row. 3 stupid questions in a row, and you sit out for the rest of the season. Get your crap together, all right?
Ryan, I'd like to add a couple amendments to what I would now like to call the Ryan Schmidt law.
Okay.
Regarding people in the stands and how to conduct themselves. Amendment A would be you would have former Green Bay Packer Hall of Fame legends in the stands. And what they do is, if people are standing up when they're not supposed to, they go over and clock them. Where they point at and say, I'm going to kick your butt. Or if they're not standing up and they're on their phones, not watching the game, not yelling when the team's on defense, then same thing. Amendment B would be you'd have Scantling.
Hold on one sec. I got to the pause button a little bit late. So here's what I think. Because remember when like they used to have Matt LaFleur on the Jumbotron saying shush and all the players and whatnot. I think before the game, you have somebody very highly respected. I don't know who it is. You get somebody. Get Donald Driver. Get Mike Daniels. You know, go get Jordy Nelson. Put him at the 50-yard line before the game. Give him a microphone. Have everybody listen up. Say, I have a very important announcement. And just have him in a very boring but direct, non-confusing way explain the rules. Here is how you can help the Green Bay Packers win. Here is how you can be the 12th man. Here is how blah, blah, blah. Right? You make all the noise. You stand, you cheer, you stomp, you clap, you scream, you go crazy. For every moment that we are on defense, you sit quietly when we are on offense. You don't make any sound. You can whisper to your neighbor. That's it. There is no yelling. There is no clapping. You can only cheer after the play, right? That's it. Like if you see a big touchdown pass, feel free to cheer, right? Or a 20, whatever. But you have to be quiet when we're on offense. When they're in the huddle, when they're at the line of scrimmage, you be quiet. No waves, preferably ever, but specifically when on offense. And whatever rules we want to get in there. And even what I said is too long, and you just make it real concise. Because here's the thing. If you're not going to listen to Jordy Nelson or Mike D or Charles Woodson or anybody else, we get, for every home game, we bring in a Packers celebrity. You know? You bring in just a freaking superstar. And if you will defy that superstar, it could even be a current player. I don't care. You put Zach Tom in the middle of the field. Put Matt LaFleur in the middle of the field. Whatever. If you're going to defy that person and say, I don't care, I'm going to make noise on offense, I'm going to do the wave, I'm going to yell at people to sit down and be quiet, you will be kicked out. Because now you're actively sabotaging the team, and you can do that from your own home. You're not doing that in this stadium. Now, that's a little unfair, because obviously we're not going to hold that standard to like a Vikings fan or something in the stadium, because you know, you can't just be kicking out Vikings fans and stuff. That's not right. And so how can Vikings fans do it, but Packers fans? I don't know, man. It's just the rules. It's just the rules. Just do it right. You know, and I'm not saying you don't have to cheer. But you can't tell other people not to. And you cannot cheer when we're on offense. And if you will actively sabotage this as a Packers fan in defiance of a very nice request directly to you from a Packers legend, then you should not be here. You suck as a fan, and you're not welcome here. That's my thought.
Glad Green Bay Packer cheerleaders hold up signs saying when to stand up and yell and when to sit down and be quiet.
I would like to call that the Ryan Schlip law.
Yeah, I think cheerleaders are about as useless as they come. No offense to all the cheerleaders, but there is nothing more useless than a cheerleader. I mean, I've never understood. I mean, it's in the name. You lead the cheers, but when have they ever led a cheer? They don't lead cheers, right? Like leading a cheer would be like going, "Go Pack, go, go Pack, go." People in the stands are cheerleaders. Cheerleaders aren't cheerleaders. They just do these goofy dances. And nobody wants to look at them. I mean, some people might want to stare at them, but that's a whole other thing. I'm just saying, no, there's no entertainment value. They're not actually leading cheers. They're completely useless. Now, maybe we could actually make them useful by doing what you said, which is hold up signs, but we got the big old jumbotrons to do that. We don't need people that nobody can see anyways tucked away in the corner. And it's not like the fans are going to be staring like, what am I supposed to do? I can't see over there, Charlie. What are they telling me to do? Just put it on the big board. Stand up, cheer, stupid. Sit down, be quiet, moron. You got to add that because, again, I could not be any more specific and direct with you so that when I kick you out, there will be no excuse. So yeah, I'm for it. Minus the cheerleaders, they don't belong in there. Just put it up on the old big screen. You know what I mean? I shouldn't have to tell you this, but be quiet. All right, let's take our final break. We'll come back and hear from some more people.
Club 65 fan, how are you?
Hi, good.
Well, I hope that was I'm doing great.
Close.
But if it wasn't, I hope you're doing great.
Good.
Anywho, I just got done listening to an Andy Herman podcast where he used artificial intelligence to predict the Packers' 2024 season.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I should ruin it. But I think you should do one because, okay, so here's the thing. I don't know what AI he used. I'm sure he said it in the beginning. I apologize. I didn't go back to find out what he used before I called. I just kind of thought about that. But I'm sure he says it in the beginning. Anywho, he just did one shot. He didn't give it any parameters. He didn't do anything. He said, I just did a one-shot AI thing. I didn't want to manipulate it. And, it was a pretty exciting outcome. So I'd be curious to see if you did the same thing, what your AI would come up with. I mean, it was every game. Scores of every game, like scores by quarter. It was pretty cool. It was almost like you were listening to a recap of a former season, and it was pretty cool. But anywho, I thought maybe you'd be interested in that. It's pretty neat, and I think everybody would get a kick out of it. Heck, you could even turn it into like a YouTube one where you act like it really is the season. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you should try that. If you really, the way you podcast, and I don't know. I like your personality a little more than Andy's. Andy is pretty straightforward, says what he says, and then he's done. But you give a little color to your podcast, which I kind of like. So, why don't you try that with a little of the Ryan color and see how that turns out? All right. I loved the Bears Suck It song. Okay, bye-bye.
Been called a lot of things in my life, never been called colored. I think you add the color, 1265 fan. No, that's a good idea. I know I've done similar things. I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job of cornering the market on AI, but I'm trying to strike a balance between not just having an all AI podcast that becomes boring and also making sure that nobody else tries to encroach on my territory here, which it sounds like some people might be doing. So I might have to ramp it up just a touch. But no, I actually got a pretty cool idea for that. We'll see how far I can take it. It's one of those things where it's like, I know how I can make it 1,000 times better. And because it's way over the top, it's going to be way too hard. It's not going to be, not going to be able to execute on this thing that's entirely unnecessary, and then I'm just going to give up on it. But I got an idea. All right. You know, AI is supposed to make me more productive. I swear it's making me less productive. I need to finish this podcast. And immediately it's like, all right, I need to start working on this. It's like, no, just stop and finish. I got an idea. I do. I like it. Thank you, 1265 fan. Taylor in Arkansas.
Hey, man, it's Taylor down in Arkansas.
What's up?
I want to comment on a couple things. Y'all talked about brats a couple shows back, and just want to say I honestly just discovered the magic of the brats. So if you got any good recipes, I'm starting to get into smoking and grilling a little bit more. Just kind of toss those out there. And then I've been listening to some other podcasts like Locked On and Move the Sticks. And one thing that kind of surprised me, the Packers were first and second in most of the groups, different positions, except for the secondary. They were ranked second and third in both podcasts behind the Bears, and then one podcast had them behind the Lions. And with McKinney and Jair and Stokes and all the weapons we have in the secondary, kind of surprised me. So want to see what you thought about that and what you think about the brats. Thanks.
So I'm more of a, I don't know if purist is the right word, because that's not, I mean, I just do straight up raw. I just put them right on the grill. I think they're delicious just as they are. I think the most popular way to do it is to boil them, and especially in beer. Beer brats are very, very popular. I don't know exactly the process for that. I don't know if we're bringing them all the way up to temperature and then just putting some grill marks on them. I'm really not sure. I've never done it. But I know that is the most popular way to do it. So I would go ahead and look into that, try it out, because it's fantastic. But I don't do it that way. I don't like sauerkraut. I don't like pretty much any of the stuff that you put on things. So I just put the brats straight on the grill, cook them up to temp, put them on a bun, and just go to town. Just perfect as is. As far as the secondaries, that does surprise me as well. So the Chicago Bears right now have Jalen Johnson, who was graded as the number one corner last year. But, I mean, listen, his grades have been 54, 64, 62, 91. Now, the Bears just released a safety, and they just got rid of a safety because he's not worth the contract that they're going to pay him. And they gave him too big of a contract because he did the exact same thing. In fact, I think he was actually better than Jalen Johnson. But he was just like, and then exploded and was like the number one safety in football, got a massive contract, same thing Jalen Johnson's either got or is about to get, and then crashed back down to earth. I've said it 1,000 times. I'll continue to say it. Jalen Johnson is not going to be as good next year. It's not going to happen. It's an overly simplistic look at things. The corner opposite that is Tyreek Stevenson, who was not good last year. They have Jaquan Brisker, who is massively overrated. He's graded out as average his first 2 years. And then they swapped out one safety for 31-year-old Kevin Byard, who hasn't been a premier safety since 2021 and has gotten worse every single year. 2021, he was the number one safety in football with a 90 grade. Then in 2022, he was 8th with a 79 grade. Last year, he was 23rd with a 73 grade. Do I think we have a better secondary? Yes, I do. I would not be at all surprised if Jair was a better corner than Johnson. I would be borderline shocked if we don't have a better option than Tyreek Stevenson. I'm quite positive that McKinney is better than Byard, and I'm hopeful that our rookie is going to be better than Brisker, especially since we have 3 of them to choose from. The Lions have rookie Terrion Arnold, which, some people are probably going to freak out because he's going to be so great. I don't know if you remember when they drafted a corner like 3rd overall. That sucked. But yeah, there's that. So Terrion Arnold, who is a question mark. You got Carlton Davis, who is mid at best. You've got Kirby Joseph at safety, who's quite bad. Brian Branch is solid. I believe he's primarily a slot corner. It would be very disappointing if we weren't better than this. And the Vikings are just kind of terrible, aside from having a couple decent safeties, but it's not going to be as good as the Packers. So their corners are Shaq, my understanding. I mean, there's still training camp, there's rookies, there's all these different things going on. This is as it stands via PFF right now. Shaquille Griffin, who is 29 years old, has been pretty. He's had a couple of decent years, 2019 and 2021. Other than that, he's very average. You've got Caleb Evans, who is horrific. He ranked 99th last year. And Byron Murphy, who ranked 87th last year with a 58 PFF grade. Their corners are god-awful. Then they have Cam Bynum and Smith. What the heck is his name? Harrison Smith. I've said this, I feel like 1,000 times on this podcast, but Cam Bynum he's pretty solid. At least I think he is. I don't really know. His first year, he didn't really play very much. His second year was bad. He was 68th out of 88 with a 59 grade. He jumped up to 22nd with a 73 grade, which is decent. We'll see if he can continue that, in which case he's good, not great. Harrison Smith is one of the best safeties to ever play the game, one of the more underrated players, but he's 35 years old. And since 2019, it's been a downward slope. It's, he was 3rd, 14th, 11th, 37th, 34th. His grades, 88, 74, 78, 68, 68. I mean, he hasn't had a good season since 2021. He hasn't had a great season since 2019. It's 2024. Certainly not to say it's impossible, but I'm not expecting it. So is Jair better than Griffin? Yes. Is Stokes going to be better than Evans? I would assume so. If not, I mean, Valentine's better, so I would hope we have somebody there that's better. Is whoever's going to be playing slot better than Byron Murphy? I would sure hope so. Are our safeties better? I mean, the only guy that's a question mark would be the rookie compared to, Harrison Smith or Cam Bynum. But the only maybe, I would say at worst our secondary is second behind the Bears. And even that is a huge maybe. You have to have your corner be, top 5 again. Your safeties have to be real clutch, in which case I would say it's probably tough for us to catch you. But I don't know why you have people telling you that the Packers rank 3rd or 4th in the secondary. No idea.
Daddy!
Hey, what you got, buddy?
What's up, brother?
Going on?
How we doing?
Good.
Summer just cruising along. Oh man, can football season get here? I'm ready for it. We're in the process of moving, which blows.
Yeah, it's rough.
Kids camps, running around, doing whatever. But man, every time I turn on the television or I listen to any bit of sports thing, and the summer is kind of dead for sports for me. But all I'm hearing is everybody saying how great Jordan Love is, and that he's worth the money, and all these people, and we've talked about this, so this is nothing new. But all these people saying kind of I told you so on how good Jordan Love was and how he's going to be. It's amazing. Does anybody get checked for any of the stuff they used to say and the stuff they say now? This just pisses me off, to be honest. But also, then it makes me worried. I don't know. I think Jordan's head is level, and he seems like a very composed individual, and he's taken so much time to get here that I'm not overly stressed about it, but I don't know. I just don't like that everybody and their mothers is saying that he's going to be amazing. I think he's going to be, but it just makes me worried. That's all. So hope you're well, man. Hope everybody in Packer Nation's doing all right. Can't wait to start screaming on the phone lines in a couple of months. See you, bud.
Yeah, look, I mean, a lot of stupid people say a lot of stupid things. And I could understand being nervous because all the stupid people are now coming around saying that Jordan's going to be good, and that obviously is going to make you nervous because you don't want the stupid people on your side because it feels like a jinx. But at the same time, we just got to be smart about things and say what, because a lot of times you can identify when stupid people are saying stupid stuff and you can see where it's about to blow up in their face very easily. This can be one of those things, but it's just a question of, are we doing our own due diligence? Does it make the most sense? And I'm always going to be nervous. That's just, because you don't know. You never know. I'm nervous about J.J. McCarthy. I'm nervous about Caleb Williams. You know, I'm freaking nervous about whatever the Lions did. I don't remember what they did. Literally can't remember one thing they did. I'm nervous that Jordan is going to, regress and the defense isn't going to be a thing. But it's one thing to be nervous and to be cautious and to not overextend. It's another thing to just starting to believe the negative things because I'm just looking for excuses to, like, well, look, the dumb people like them, and I don't know. I don't know what else there is. But again, I think if you just look at the situation, I think what makes the most sense is that Jordan Love is a very good quarterback. Now, we got to learn the nuances of that. What does that mean? What is his style of great? He might have some horrifically bad games. It might be more of a Brett Favre kind of a thing where he'll show up and have like a 1 touchdown, 3 interception game. It's like, well, crap, dude. But you just roll with it because it's Jordan. You know what I mean? Like, that sucks, but we'll get him next time. I don't know. We got to learn the ins and outs. We got to know Brett Favre real well. We got to know Aaron Rodgers real well. Rodgers much more meticulous and precise and, really high touchdown to interception ratio. And, we knew his good attributes and his bad attributes, and we got to figure that out with Jordan. But the bottom line is he going to be a stud? I'm very comfortably leaning toward yes right now. Cautiously optimistic, nervously optimistic, whatever. But I'm optimistic. I'm feeling good about it. And yeah, just because everybody's on board, it doesn't mean that things are automatically going to go bad. Because sometimes the stupid people get stuff right. Sometimes the smart people get stuff wrong. It is what it is. Trust your intuition. All right, I'm going to leave you guys with that. You have a good rest of your day. Hope you had a great 4th of July. Make sure you tune in tomorrow, 6 o'clock. Been making a lot of these, a lot of different musics. Well, I finally got some help from Mr. Carson Caldwell, another Green Bay Packers content creator. He calls into the show once in a while. You should definitely go subscribe to his YouTube, by the way. But he reached out and he was like, "Look, man, if you wanna do this thing where you make hype videos or whatever, I'll help you out with the video side of it. If you want to do the music side of it, and we'll just get this thing rocking." Well, tomorrow we're going to officially release our first one. It is of Rashawn Gary. I'm very happy how it turned out. It took me a long time. Usually it doesn't take that long. I could not find a song that just fit. Finally got it. Super jacked about it. He did a fantastic job. So make sure you're ready for that. Otherwise, I'll talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.